Hello, this is Brent, your movie theater explorer here. And today I'm going to talk about some of the movies I'd recently see either in theaters or in my home theater. The first thing I want to start off with is, as you guys know, my last episode I recorded, I did see Tron Ares. I recorded my reaction as soon as I had seen the movie. And I had seen it in IMAX 3D, so I shared my thoughts. I also did talk about how I was going to be seeing Tron Ares in Cinemark XD, and I wanted to share my thoughts on that. And so today I'll be doing that. I'll be sharing my thoughts. I saw it in Cinemark XD and 3D there. So Cinemark XD 3D. Um, so it was actually the next day I went. And I even shared some of my thoughts on my Facebook page as well. And so basically, I compared the two different experiences. So the big one's obviously going to be XD is more widescreen, not necessarily taller IMAX screens. So the IMAX aspect ratios really stood out. First off, seeing it in 3D, and it felt way more immersive in that term. But um, but again, when I saw it, there were moments like I don't know if it was just maybe there might have been some blurriness or whatever. I had a hard time trying to find the 3D in the IMAX 3D. So seeing it in 3D in the Cinemark XD theater allowed me to be able to tell the depth perception a little bit more, and that helped quite a bit to be able to appreciate the 3D a bit more. And again, but again, it felt more immersive in IMAX 3D, but the depth perception was a bit better for my experience here for the Cinemark XD 3D. So, so there was that, and of course more wide. There was no changing aspect ratios during the movie. It was only one aspect ratio, the 2.39, and it fit the screen well there, and it looked great. So yeah, and the colors and the image looked great in the XD screen. So there's that, and then the sound was more immersive in the term of like 11.1. I believe the IMAX theater that I went to was more 5.1. I want to say, and please note that the 5.1 for the IMAX was super loud, incredibly immersive. It's just the XD theater, the immersiveness was a little more different. It was a little more precise and still loud. And yeah, there obviously the speakers came from all over the place and supported the experience. But it like I think the word I would use for the sound for the IMAX is natural, like louder natural sound, natural immersiveness. That's what I'm looking for. So it's more like there's a lot of support for creating the loudness from all the speakers for the XD. It wasn't as loud, but it felt like there was an extra sense of immersion for the IMAX experience, and it felt very immersive, and it just sounded fantastic, and I felt very much placed in that. And I did feel the same way, but it's just more in a different sense. And I could tell like a little bit from the sound from above, but yeah, for the XD theater. So obviously, I preferred the IMAX experience, but at the same time, having the XD experience was excellent as well. And it helped me to be able to, again, the big thing was it helped me differentiate, to tell the depth and the 3D a lot better. So I was able to have a better perception of the 3D that way. Um, so yeah, and it was definitely a great experience on the sound. Also, yeah, I was able like I could feel the seats moving in my theater, and I was not in the those motion control seats when I went to go see it. So yeah, again, it was another great experience. Regardless, this is one of those movies. If you haven't seen it yet, this is one of those I do highly encourage trying to see it in theaters regardless. Even if it's not going to be in an IMAX theater, I think once I post this, I think there's probably maybe one more day or two where it might be in, where it'll be playing like in an IMAX theater or in a premium screen altogether. You might get lucky. Maybe there might be one or two theaters that might play during the day. Maybe still get a chance. But regardless, if it's not, I still highly encourage trying to check it out in a movie theater, period. It is definitely just a really cool experience in theaters. Just the sound, like, again, the IMAX sound was incredibly immersive, incredibly fantastic. And same with the Cinemark XD, but it can still sound great in other theaters as well. So it's still one of those just because of the surround sound and the everything, or you might be in a theater that might have Dolby Atmos that might still play it. And I would definitely still highly encourage to experience Tron Ares in that way. So yeah, it's one of those I would not wait for streaming, especially if this one is on your radar in any way, shape, or form. I would definitely go and check it out in theaters. It is definitely a like I've said it many times. It is a really cool theater going experience, and I hope you get a chance to go experience it that way, especially if you have a strong interest in seeing it. So anyway, so just wanted to talk about that. I also got to see the movie Good Boy in theaters. I went to a nearby Cinemark to go see it, and this really wasn't on my radar, but I just decided to go check it out. And I mean, I don't think I even watched a trailer for it before going in to check it out. So I went to go in and go see it, and then um, and it was definitely an intense movie, but a definitely well done movie. So if you guys have never heard of it, it's basically a horror movie or a haunted house movie in the perspective of a dog. So I mean, you do hear humans talk, and you do hear, and it's not you're understanding humans. Just to be clear, it's more like a lot of the shots were from the perspective of a dog on the ground. A lot of the time, you probably see some of the human faces from time to time. Um, don't want to go too much more into that beyond that because I mean, again, this is one of those I personally did not know much about going in. I just heard about it and I'm like, oh, let's go check it out. I'm kind of curious, and it is definitely really cool. It was definitely it was definitely pretty creepy. It definitely had a really creepy vibe and some kind of like frightening moments, but it was just very well done, very well shot, and very well utilized. And something cool that they did at the end of the movie, um, if you stay till the end of the credits, they show you the director basically talks about his experience on making the movie, and he talked about how they achieved some of the shots, and it was kind of cool to get a little behind the scenes that way. So, again, if you're into horror movies and you want to see something a little different, I do strongly encourage checking this one out. And again, the theater I went to was a smaller auditorium. There was it was definitely late at night, and there were definitely a few of us, but the surround sound was great and picture looked good, and so yeah, I do recommend checking this one out. Hopefully, you get a chance to go see it in theaters. Um, let's see. Another one that I got to see in theaters was Casper. Um, so, for any of you that don't know, they have re-released Casper in theaters throughout the month of October, and so um, I I've watched this movie a lot as a kid. I actually did get to see this movie in theaters when it came out back in 1995. I I do remember going to to a smaller theater in my town when I was living in this particular town, and the theater was not a very big one. It was a pretty small auditorium, but it was definitely cool to see. And then, but obviously, my experiences with it were more in rewatches over the years. Like it's one of those I would pull out and watch from time to time. There was just something really cool about it. So, and just still funny and everything. So, um, so I grew up on watching this one quite a bit. So when they announced that they were putting it back in theaters for its 30th anniversary, I'm like, I wanted to go check it out. I was going to try to go one particular day, but um, I got to the theaters, and this was like a more modern theater, and there was a situation that happened that I wasn't able to go in that day, so they had to close down the theater for a few hours, and that affected the only time that I was going to that they were playing it. So I missed out on that theater, but then I found another nearby theater that's more of an older style theater that ended up playing it, and I'm like, so I went to that one a couple of days later, and I went to a late showing, and again, it's a pretty really good size theater, but it's non-stadium, and I actually ended up having the whole theater to myself, and it was a really cool experience. It was just really cool to rewatch in theaters, and just the sound um, was, and again, it wasn't like the most modern of sounds. It wasn't like Dolby Atmos or anything like that, but it still sounded incredibly good. It still, I could feel like the deep bass and all that, and from the atmospheres of the house and everything, and it was really good. So I think it's still playing throughout the rest of the month. I don't know how easy it is to find a showtime, but if you do have an opportunity, if this is a movie you grew up watching, you want to rewatch it, and or you want to introduce your kids or whatever, I do strongly encourage trying to find a showtime for it. It's also on 4K disc if you want to check it out that way as well. Um, but yeah, that was definitely a really cool experience. Definitely one that I'm glad they Universal's been doing a great job, actually. I'll say it right now. Universal's been doing a great job in re-releasing a lot of their movies this year, from like Jaws, Apollo 13, obviously Casper now, and then they're doing Back to the Future um, a little over a week from now. So yeah, they're doing a lot, and I have to applaud them for that. It's great. So yeah, that was another one I checked out. A lot of the other ones I'm listing now are ones I checked out in my home theater. One of the first ones I watched in my modest home theater, which again, my modest home theater is a 55-inch 4K TV with a small like home theater setup, which does have Dolby Atmos. It's 5.1 plus the two upfiring speakers, and so the movie I watched that way was It Came from Outer Space. This is a movie that was released in 1953. Um, I picked up the 4K a couple years ago. I watched it then. I wanted to rewatch it again now, and so I ended up rewatching it. And it's definitely an intriguing movie. It's definitely a bit slower. Definitely takes its more time, just trying to let things unfold and all that. It was definitely an intriguing movie. I've watched quite a few from that era lately or within the last couple of years, and it's probably not among my favorite, but it still has some interesting aspects to it. So I think if you want to be a completionist and check more science fiction monster movies, I do think trying to seek it out might be a cool way to do it. I'd say more of a rental, or it might be free streaming or whatever. But anyway, I would say at least a rental. Um, and then the other ones I'm listing are ones I watched in my dedicated home theater. I picked up a 4K projector recently. It's a good room setting with I got again got Dolby Atmos. It's got good sized floor speakers, good sized speakers, and which is more mainly 5.1. But then I have two overhead speakers as well. And so, in the one, so the first one I'm going to talk about is A Quiet Place Day One, and so I watched that one in 4K Ultra HD, and the picture looked really good. It looked really good. I mean, it's not the most colorful of pictures, but the details stood out and everything. But the winner for me was the Dolby Atmos. It definitely just immerses you into the entire experience. And if you've watched any of the other Quiet Place movies, you know what I mean. Um, I've Actually, I remember seeing the first Quiet Place in a regular movie theater. It was a nearby Cinemark when it first came out. No clue, like kind of an idea of what to expect. I think I watched maybe one TV spot, maybe a trailer one time, but so I knew an idea of from reviews of people talking about it what to anticipate. But beyond that was about it. And I remember all of us in the theater, like if we had snacks, we were trying to be very extra careful, not trying to be loud or disruptive when eating. So, and I know I definitely did. I think I had like about a bag of like, I want to say if I had a bag of the sweet tar ropes with me, and I was trying to open it up, but ended up not doing it or as easily or waited till a particular moment. Anyway, and then I've seen all the other ones, and A Quiet Place Day One, I've had three different movie theater experiences for that. First one was in Cinemark XD. Really great, great audience, and we were all intense and all that, and obviously picture and sound were great in that. And then IMAX, definitely more loud. Um, Still solid picture, and quite a few people. It was on a five. It was on a cheap Tuesday, and then on a regular movie theater as well. Not as many people when I saw it for the third time, and then yeah. So it's been over a year since I last saw it, and then watching my dedicated home theater. And again, still a great home theater experience. Like this is one of those I would use to like just to show how immersive like a home theater experience can be. So, um, so yeah, it's I don't know how expensive the disc is. If you're looking for a good 4K disc to play in your home theater, I do recommend getting this one, especially if you've liked the movie. I still think it's a very good one. Um, Another one I watched was A House with a Clock in Its Walls. I watched it on Blu-ray. I I got it on Blu-ray many years ago, and it's the reason I watched it is because it has a really good Dolby Atmos track, and it's actually quite a good movie. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It feels like the type of movie I would have watched growing up as a kid. Um, and it just had like enough of the creep factor to it and enough of the adventure aspect to it that just intrigued me into the world that we were given. So and so again, great performances by the main leads, and yeah, if you haven't seen it before, I do recommend checking it out. I think it's at least if you want to at least give it a rental, I'd say at least give it a rental. It's at least worth checking out that way. Again, it's the picture was good in Blu-ray. The Dolby Atmos was what I went for, and it was definitely quite immersive and definitely really creative with the sounds and the atmosphere that it created. So again, it's still a really good movie. It's like I said, it's one that I remember seeing in theaters back in 2018 when it came out and definitely being very impressed by it. A couple of other ones that I've recently watched. Um, I pulled out Beetlejuice, the 1988 version or the 1988 movie from Tim Burton. I I've had it on 4K Ultra HD, so I watched my dedicated home theater. The picture looks great, and details stood out, colors stood out, and it's just well shot. Um, and then just the sound sounded really good. Like something that was really cool was just listen to the opening theme with the expansive orchestra filling the whole sound space is really cool. So, um, again, if you've never seen this one, this is one I do recommend checking out. If you've never seen it before, and especially if you've liked a lot of Tim Burton's movies, this is one of his earlier efforts. Um, I don't think he had not made a full name for himself when he released this, so a lot of people wouldn't have known what to expect from a Tim Burton movie. I think the first movie that came out beforehand, which I personally haven't seen yet, but I'm planning to check out soon, is um, is Pee Wee's Big Adventure. I think that was his first movie, a full length feature released in theaters. But yeah, anyway, and again, I think he did some short films, but again, I'm more focusing on a feature length movie right here. So yeah, but obviously I was a lot of kids in that era. I remember first seeing the cartoon, and then I found the movie later on. I mean, I knew about its existence for a bit, but I never watched it until years later, until I was like about 11 years old, and I watched it off a recording off TV, and just like how it was different than I was anticipating. I remember that. And so if you watch the cartoon and you watch the movie, you know why. Um, but still, it is a very it's a very well crafted movie. It's I would there's like a sense of spookiness and unusualness for a lot of Tim Burton movies. I feel like there's more of a presence of an otherworldly in Beetlejuice, so it kind of stands out a little bit different. It still has the sensibilities of Tim Burton, but it stands out just slightly different. I think of it different than if I were to compare it to something like Edward Scissorhands. Anyway, if you've never seen it before, I do recommend checking it out. And again, if you're looking for just for a 4K disc that isn't too expensive, I don't think it wasn't that expensive when I got it. I got it on a sale a couple of years back, and I'm pretty sure you could probably get it on a sale as well. And again, it's a good looking 4K disc, and it's a good sounding 4K disc as well, for those that are just looking for a really good home theater experience. Um, Another one I just want to touch on quickly is Love and Monsters. Again, I watched this one in my dedicated home theater. I watched it on the 4K Ultra HD, which I picked up years back. So this movie came out in late 2020. So when a lot of the theaters were shut down, not a lot of movies were, a lot of the studios were not releasing their big movies, and this is one of those that they decided to release. In the trailers, it said they released it same day in theaters and on premium video on demand. And I ended up having a local movie theater that was open during the time that did play it. So I did go see it, and it was one of those like the trailer was enough, like it was enough of an adventure movie that with some monsters and all that, and it looked like it was a lot of fun. That I was just like, you know what, I want to go check this one out, and I'm glad I did. And I picked it up on 4K later on, or a little bit when it came out on 4K, and yeah, and the picture looked quite good, and the sound sounded really good as well. So, and again, it's one of those. It's a really good home theater experience, especially if you're looking for a disc to watch in your 4K TV. If you have yeah, if you have a good home theater system that you wanna and if you like this movie, I do recommend looking for the disc. I don't think it's too expensive. Anyway, that'll do it for now for the ones that I've seen in the last couple of weeks. Um, I do want to talk about for a little bit some of the movies that I'm really anticipating for the rest of the year, um, and maybe just a little bit of why. So, one of the first ones I'll touch on, probably one of the bigger ones, is Avatar Fire and Ash. Um, the next one, directed by James Cameron, continuation of the Avatar series, is the one with the blue people. Um, and mainly because each of the ones that I've seen in theaters have always felt like big screen experiences, ones that are worth seeing in theaters, also in 3D. So, and this one feels like no exception. Um, how the story is, I mean, the story's fine. Obviously, the visuals are the main attraction, and just the experience that James Cameron delivers in theaters, and this looks like to deliver another grand 3D theatrical experience, and I can't wait to experience it that way. Um, one of the next ones, uh, I would say right now I'm going to say, um, sorry, I'm trying to decide which one to put next. Guess I'm not going to go in particular order, so I'll just go with one of these next ones here. It's one that's coming out in a couple of weeks that looks like it's like a fun science fiction adventure movie. Um, Predator Badlands. I know the character has a big history of being one thing, and this looks like, hey, this takes it from the perspective of the predator himself, and in telling his story, and it's put on a planet with a bunch of creatures and everything, and it just I look at the trailer and just looks like a really cool science fiction adventure movie that looks like I have a lot of creature battles and everything, and I'm excited to check it out. Um, Another one I'm actually really looking forward to, um, Wicked for Good. Um, Wicked, um, obviously, we had Wicked Part 1 last year, so Wicked for Good is more Wicked Part 2. So this is basically the second part of the musical, which I've never seen the musical, um, so basically, seeing the first part of the movie last year was my first experience with it at all. Besides the trailers, of course. Um, so yeah, I'm looking forward to see how this whole thing concludes and everything. And I was very impressed with the first part. And I'm not not a person that's big into musicals, but just the scale, the scope, the everything that went into it was just very impressive, and I'm looking forward to see that continuation there. So, yep, I'm excited for that. Um, the next part, or another one that I'm really looking forward to, it's playing for, I think, for 1 week, but I am not certain, or if it's only for maybe a few particular theaters. But I know it's getting a limited engagement, and that is "Wake Up Dead Man," a Knives Out story. So this is the one of the third entries in the Knives Out series, as it's come known as. The Glass Onion and Wake Up Dead Man are ones that were made by Netflix, but they have agreed to do a very short theatrical release for these. So I'm actually looking forward to checking this one out in theaters. I don't know if I've watched the trailer yet. If I have, I don't remember how the trailer looked, but regardless, this is one of those that I probably don't even need to watch a trailer. I'm probably just like, oh, it's a Knives Out movie. I really liked the other two, so I'm excited to see this one, and I'm excited to see it in theaters. Um, Another one that, yeah, another one that I'm actually really looking forward to is Zootopia 2. I really like the first one that they did, and I'm excited to see how they continue the story for it. If you've never seen the first one, I do think it's a really good one. It's got a good message to it, and it's got some um, creative play on species and all that. And if you've seen it, like you know some of the reveals, you think about it, then it's definitely very well done. Um, I I do recommend checking it out if you haven't seen it before. A few other ones that I am looking forward to, and again, there's a lot that's coming out this Christmas season or this holiday season that looks quite good. One that's coming out not too long from now is Springsteen Deliver Me from Nowhere. I'm looking forward to checking that one out. Now You See Me, Now You Don't, the third entry in the Now You See Me series. Looking forward to seeing that one. And as I enjoyed the other two. And then another one that I is directed by Mamoru Hosoda is a movie called Scarlet. It's also coming out in theaters in Japan. I think we're getting a release here in theaters as well. And I've really enjoyed his movies, and I am looking forward to his newest one as well. It's called Scarlet. So anyway, those are just a few right now. But anyway, I think that's it for now. I'll leave you to, I'll let you be from here. And until the next time I record my next episode. And yeah, thank you for tuning in and to allow me to talk about some of the things that I've seen, some of the things I'm looking forward to. And yeah, some of these things I'm looking forward to, I do look forward to in the near future to talk about what I think of them when I see them. Anyway, thank you very much for tuning in, and I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Again, this is Brent, your movie theater explorer. Until next time, go explore your local cinema. Thank you.